It's time for our cash tag segment. For that, let's bring in our next guest. That's going to be Andy Swan. He's a co-founder at Likefolio. Welcome back to the show, Andy.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you. Yum Brands. It's been relatively flat so far this year into their earnings tomorrow morning ahead of the opening bell. Is this just about maybe competition being better than them? Is it changing taste? Is it inflationary pressures? Why is the stock, according to your data, not doing that great?
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. Yum is in a pretty tough spot from a macroeconomic perspective. We really see kind of a large divide continuing to grow between what I would call very low income consumers and the rest of the world. And you see that, really in the pricing of these meals. You go to McDonald's, you go to KFC, Pizza Hut, the prices have gone up, the quality has not. And so people who can afford to are opting for Chipotle, they're opting for Wingstop. They're opting for a little bit more of a fast casual experience, or they're getting a meal delivered, or they're going to an Olive Garden type of experience for nearly the same price as a McDonald's value meal or a KFC meal. And so they're in a very tough competitive situation at Yum Brands. It seems like Taco Bell is the only one that can continue to thrive in this environment. Both KFC and Pizza Hut continue to struggle because the value that they can offer is very difficult to justify for almost all of the consumers that would normally, eat there or shop there. There's just better options. So when we look at, the demand levels for a Wingstop, that's up versus everyone else. Especially if you're in the fast food category, McDonald's, Wendy's, and yes, Yum Brands is down. And we just overall think that that's because from a competitive situation, they are no longer capable of offering a truly value experience to the customer that is significantly better from a value perspective than what someone can get at Chipotle or Wingstop or any of these fast casual places that are popping up everywhere. So a really tough spot for Yum Brands. We think that absolutely continues into the rest of this year and into next year. They've really got to kind of redefine who they are. And is it just we're a Taco Bell company now? I mean, that's the only one that is working, and it's been that way for a little while.
That is so. You just got my point exactly. It seems like it's Taco Bell, which can offer a lower price point than, let's say, Chipotle, and then it's Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is basically a forgotten chicken with all the chicken, the really good chicken companies out there. And then Pizza Hut, so much pizza is regional, right? Their main competition is Domino's, and Domino's dominates them in that. So this is really a company. And remember, this used to be owned by PepsiCo at one time. And so Taco Bell keeps innovating. They keep changing. They are the value proposition for people that want low-cost Mexican food and some type of tacos. But what else, Andy? They got nothing. They don't have anything else to draw you off the street when you've got a Chick-fil-A. I mean, list the chicken companies that are out there.
Oh, it's nearly impossible. It used to be, I'm going to say 15, 20 years ago, date myself a little bit. 15 or 20 years ago, if you wanted people to talk about, let's get chicken tonight, then KFC was going to be near the top of that conversation. Maybe Chick-fil-A was starting to sneak into that conversation, but it used to be, you go to KFC, you get a bucket of chicken, some biscuits, some sides, and you have a nice family meal. And I think KFC somewhat has lost its way. And this is tough for me to say, Yum Brands and KFC are based in Louisville, Kentucky, but it's become very clear that this is a company that is leaning on the success of Taco Bell to continue to justify what's going on at both KFC and Pizza Hut. And, again, I think part of that is strategic error in terms of their offerings. Everybody misses the nostalgic visit to Pizza Hut and, the book it free pizzas. Everybody loved that stuff, and the buckets of chicken. So some of it may be some strategic mistakes. I think they could maybe work back to on the nostalgia angle. But really, it's a macroeconomic, it's an inflationary story. It is them trying to keep up with, you know, the Joneses in a lot of respects, because if you can't offer someone a pretty good meal for $6 or $7, and it's going to be $9, $10, $12, then it is, I might as well go to Chipotle. I might as well go to Qdoba. I might as well go to Salsaritas. You know, there's a lot of options on that side of things as well. And so I think that pressure continues to force Yum Brands into some really tough decisions. Do we raise prices, or do we just cut profits? And that's where they're at right now. And it's a tough spot for investors in the company.
Yeah, and some of those other companies like the Applebee's and the Olive Gardens, they're actually lowering prices.
Yeah.
It's probably better quality food than, you know, Pizza Hut and maybe KFC, where they're taking some market share. But if you look at people that are eating at home, Andy, due to inflationary pressures, you mentioned the strain on the lower income, people out there where they're not going out to eat as much. Is that having an impact also?
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, I think the other thing here is, so we talked about the very low income consumer, but everyone else has so many options. I think that's really what Kevin was getting at, what I'm trying to get at. The number of options are just seemingly infinite with meal delivery and going out to eat. That combination, it just puts up a very difficult competitive landscape for a Yum Brands, because, again, am I going to spend $12, $15, on just myself at KFC, or am I going to, have DoorDash bring some Chipotle, or, like you said, go to Olive Garden and have a better, overall dining experience? So I think some changes will have to happen at Yum. I don't know how fast they'll be able to make them, but it's clear that Taco Bell has it figured out, and the rest of the brands are just simply anchors on the company at this point.
Yep. And you got an earnings score going into this one with the stock up 1% so far this year.
Yeah, we think the stock is flat this year. We think the stock deserves to be flat, and we think the stock probably stays flat after earnings. We see no reason for any exciting news to come out of this event. We think the stock is priced just about right here.
All right, good stuff. Great data as always, Andy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that's Andy Swan, co-founder at Likefolio, breaking down Yum Brands.